press. But yeah, it's going to be a Hurricane to finish my introduction.
Probe did this. Probe is great here. Probe is great. With top left, we have Hurricane.
And the bottom right, we have a man opening up with a gas first MCanning. It's going to be Kelazur.
Tricky. SCV already going on the map. These Terran tricks, I swear. Now, I'm not, the thing is, I've always been a guy where we haven't had enough Protoss balance whiners. I've been under that. We got we got Roddy. We got guys who are they're just too clean cut.
Overly reasonable.
Yes.
A brain, including brain cells, which... But this is an eBay block, isn't it?
Yes, eBay block. Okay, yeah. But, so it's like... I don't know, some of these Terran tricks, man, but we'll see how he goes with this. Gas first, I feel like I'm watching the Muslim stream right now. We got gas first, eBay block, I'm thinking some Hellions, maybe some Burrowed Widow Mines, jeez. The whole works, perhaps.
No, I'm feeling you. Yeah, this is going to be, usually you start with some cars. So the reason for the people that are wondering that you open up with a gas first when you play this is because you're delaying your command center already because of the eBay. So instead of saying, well, I'm just going to get it at like 156 or at 203, what I'm going to do is I'm also going to get a factory before. So the delay won't be as bad because I still will get something out of it. So not only am I blocking my opponent's natural for quite some time, I'm also going to be able to get very fast stack. And sometimes just getting very fast stack is already difficult for TOS to deal with. But if you have to open up with a Zealot and then you have to follow up, with a delayed Nexus, yeah, that's definitely gonna suck. And we see the Zealot come out. This is just delaying the Nexus by insane amounts. Oh my god. No, Kelazur.
Yep. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. I will say, unrelated to this being incredibly painful for Kelagod, but this is a situation I do like to see how players handle it. Like every Protoss kind of has their own take sometimes on what they think is the best way to handle these types of openers. And I mean, this is so beautiful for Hurricane. I don't know. Would you wait and make it get I guess, okay, no, it's like the perfect timing. It's like 70% complete.
Yeah, this is... Now, you know what's funny? Is that actually if Kelazur would have moved across the map here with the Hellions, rather than go for the Adept, I don't know. What does Hurricane actually have? Like a Stalker and a Zealot? No wall?
He's got money, though. He might have rewalled if the Hellions didn't come and challenge us.
That's true. I mean, that's true. No, you know what? I'll give you that, Ken. I'll give you that. You raise a fair point, but there's a real potential there as well, right? So, sure, this isn't ideal, but this isn't game over. Not yet, okay? He's going to be going into 6 Hellions, which does suck against Stargate. Ideally, you get 4, and then you go into your mines, right?
This is one of those things where it's like, I feel like sometimes I've seen it. It's unorthodox, like a late Reaper to break the wall. Like not obviously this late, but if there was the 6 Hellions and a Reaper to help get him through, I'm like, you know what, we might have some here. But these 6 Hellions, I mean, this looks amazing for Hurricane. But it's kind of funny because I am a huge Hellion believer.
Oh yeah.
But then the Terran, oh god, there's nothing at home for this Oracle, is there?
No. He got lucky that got activated in a natural. Let's hope that he believes there's a mine in the main, but no. There's no belief in that whatsoever. This is gonna cost Kelazur a crap ton. Yeah, if the Reaper was here to bounce out these units, this could have some potential. But without a medevac here, without really anything, I'm having a hard time seeing a positive ending here for my good friend Kelazur. He has 6 Hellions across the map. The medevac is hitting later than it would with just a regular barracks first Reaper opener. So yeah, this was just extremely painful. Like if that starport doesn't get figured out, I think this is gonna do a crap ton of damage. I think we almost have a clean win here for Kelazur, right? The Oracles need to stay home for sure. Even now, he's gonna be able to do quite some damage.
Yeah, the Hellions coming in. Nice pickup from Kelagod. Going into the main base, he's got to unload. Or is he going to get out, actually? I mean, decent return damage. And it is bad still for Kelazur. He's going to drop 1 Hellion.
Yeah.
It's bad, but it's still almost playable. I mean, the thing is, from these situations, I mean, there's still 2 Oracles hanging around. And
it's almost playable.
Okay. Almost playable. Guys, I'm not going to say...
We're on the edge of it being close to being playable, all right?
I just DM Kelazur. I said, you're 20% chance to win right now, but you got it. You can still do this.
You can still do this.
The thing is, these builds, it's Hellions can find so much damage, but this was almost so painful where the oracles were killing him, and then he had 6 units that couldn't do anything across the map. The medvac did give him some ability, but geez, dream start for Hurricane. But yeah, it's just the issue with when you go Hellion as well is everything is just so delayed, right? We see tank, but like Stim is years and years away, and just everything feels so far behind from Terran.
I mean, it even gets added on, right? Because these oracles do some damage, so you don't have cash for your second and third racks yet. I mean, if your second barracks is going down at the 6-minute mark, like that's a timing where usually you want to be thinking about having your stim, halfway done. Even if you're playing triple CC, you want to at least have started your stim. But now he's starting his barracks, so it's just looking really, really poor right now for Kelazur. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's over. Death Aura is a map where you can be extremely passive, right? You have these easy 4 bases. You can get your tanks in nice positions on the cliffs. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Kelazur with continuous tank production, throughout. Just going up to 6-7 tanks, getting 4 bases, and then making a decision. Hey, do I want to add Ghost or do I want to add a big amount of Liberators? And then you can kind of play a late game from there. But yeah, I mean, the potential here for a mid-game push, that's not there anymore, Cam.
No. I mean, there is a huge attack coming. Does he have a prison? No, he can't really reinforce, but he is going to looks like he's going to jump into the main here. He's going to get on top of one of the tanks. The Cyclone is trying to help out. Tank from the low ground helping out. But Hurricane's in, finding some damage, losing quite a few Stalkers here. I'm not sure if this is the damage he was looking for.
And an Oracle as well. This is going to remove his high ground vision. I think we should have a small pool on these SCVs, by the way. Marines not all shooting either. The tank, not the greatest handling by Kelazhur, but the reason for that is because the Hellions on the other side killed 16 workers.
Oh my god. He is working so fast, we didn't even see that. That timing was just so amazing for him there. Now he's in an amazing spot. I mean, he's up 2 workers, he's about to have his 3rd base. So many Stalkers go down, which are a big pressure point for Hurricane's army. I mean, does he have any forges? He's got 1 forge, okay. But
I feel a little embarrassed here. I was going to complain about the fact that Kelazur wasn't stutter-stepping forward on the stalks. I'm like, well, this could be way better. Why isn't he, the tank is idling on the ramp? What is this? And then I realized that as the observer, I didn't catch that 17 probes died on the other side of the map. I'm like, you know what? I'll just keep my mouth shut for now and just enjoy the game. So
it's fun,
yeah.
It's funny because like the Stalkers were bleeding out in the main, but I'm like, man, it was so good. But like, if he just handled these last 4 Stalkers a little better, like he really it was so cool. But then now it's just bad for him, I think. But then like Hurricanes loses an entire mineral line, and he made a good point earlier on this map. Is like of all the maps to fall behind, Death Aura is the one where you're like, well, it's bad, but it's not that bad. I mean, I can kind of slowly get my way out there, but I like the warping of Stalkers to pressure him because it's still kind of tricky for Kelazhur. Kelazhur's got a big army, actually. Does he have Stim yet?
No, it doesn't have Stim. He needs to be careful that he doesn't lose the medevac. Loses the first medevac here. Kills the observer, though, so it's going to make this future blink attacks a little bit worse. And I do agree that I like that he rebuilt some Stalkers, but I feel like rebuilding like 12, 13 Stalkers, like, that is very heavy in gas. This means the Archons are going to be delayed, and Kelazhur actually might have a push. Oh, Prism in the main. Is there charge yet? There is charge. There's no Stim yet. This could be painful.
Yeah, he's hitting a nice little window here where the Stalkers are threatening the 3rd base, and now the Zealots in the main base, and this is going to be a tough cleanup. The Stalkers not in high enough numbers. Nice army split right now for Kelazhur. I like the tanks sieging up. The Zealots are finding... Oh, did you lose all of them?
No, I thought that all the Stalkers were going to get shot, but there still was a blink available. Got a little bit too excited there for a second. Good defense, though. Was a good pool, no?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I like that. Oh, okay, he's going into the natural now. Man, Hurricane just thinking he can take this, and tanks are kind of alone, but I'm not sure if he's actually wants this fight. Tanks fighting back pretty well. Hurricane feels like he's losing so much of his army.
Yeah, these trades haven't been it. Also, this would have been fine if you're on 4 base and 74 workers, and that's not really the case. He's equal in workers, which means that equal trades are just what they are. They're equal trades. It's not like he's gaining anything. He's investing a lot of time and a lot of attention into these pushes with these drops and with these Stalkers, but really it feels like he's just bleeding out units. Meanwhile, Kelazur getting into 2-2 very soon. He finishes plus his 1-1 already. We do have a second forge finally as well for Hurricane, but for a game that in my head, according to your DMs, was 20% chance here for Kelazur, this is looking pretty damn even.
Yeah, a little unlucky the Vikings on the wrong side to handle this prism, but he's going to deflect this well again. And nice job by Kelazur. Some of this Warp Prism Harass, especially when the stalkers are threatening, can be hard. Like if you miscommit in one side at all, it can just go completely wrong for you as Terran. So really well handled. And when we're getting up to that later game, I am a little bit scared about this Dark Shrine. No missile turrets on the map for our buddy Kelazur, and there's potential where, you know, he's pushing out and the DT's flying to all of his bases. It's going to become an all-in Kelazur's army.
Look at his army movement out of Hurricane, by the way. He's moving his army in like 2 groups across the map. He is super aggressive in his army movement and in his decision making in general, and he's super focused on our Raz a lot of the time, which is very fun to say. Very fun to see. Sorry, Hurricane has a very attractive playstyle to watch. He's been hearing us in the pre-game show. He's like, okay, well, I'm not I'm not gonna be sitting back. Like, there's constant pressure coming out of this guy, man. He's such an entertaining player to watch.
Oh no! The medvacs flying right over the stalkers. Stalkers blinking in. A little bit of miss micro, but he's still gonna get all 3 medvacs and almost all the supply, taking a huge MMR lead. Cells in the natural will be cleaned up, but there's a huge army at the 3rd base now, and it looks like Hurricane might have enough. The Zealots are bleeding out. 1 tank trying to hold the line. 3 Colossus here, though, and I don't see much answer for 3 Colossus right now.
Yeah, I don't see much answer for 3 Colossi either. Infantry weapons level 2 is about to finish up here. There's still a mine that potentially could come back online, but there's no Zealots truly to shoot at. This tank needs to move forward, but he's so afraid to unsiege it, and for a good freaking reason, because there's a massive army there. Kelazur jumps in, he dives, he jukes. It's not going to be enough as Hurricane takes game number 1 here on Death Aura in a very odd game number 1, I have to say, MCanning.
That hurts me a bit. I mean, that's a painful one for Kelazur, because like you feel like, oh, literally everything went wrong for the first 4 minutes, where the starport gets scouted, the Hellions don't find much damage, Oracles are finding damage, and then you slowly claw your way back all the way throughout the game. You know, bad blink into the main, the Hellions find big damage, he's making nice moves, and then his 3 medvacs get caught in the game ends. That one pain me a bit, where you're just like, man, I feel like I played better that game, actually, even though I lost. I feel like I played better. But
Yeah, it feels that way, right? Because you have such a difficult start. I completely agree with you that you work so hard for it, and then in the end, it just wasn't enough, and it's gonna hurt. But there's also some. I feel like if you're a Kelazur fan here, right, you're not going to be too worried whatsoever. I mean, you look at that game and you think, okay, we had a poor start. We were constantly on the back foot, and Kelazur tends to be good when he has the momentum on his side. Kelazur likes to have momentum. He likes to be the one in charge. He likes to be the one dictating the pace of the game, and if he can't be doing that, then usually he's a little bit worse. But it still looked tight enough that I'm not really afraid, honestly. Here, you know, I'm not afraid for Kelazur. I think we'll see a series here.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been a showman. The thing is, guy, with the chat, I don't know if the chat knows this about Kelazur, but he's handsome, and he likes to put on a show. And when I think of Kelazur, you know, he would never just give us 2 games in a set. So you can count on this game going his way. If you're a betting man, go all in on Kelazur right now. He's going to win this.
He has it, yeah. it's a fact. He's a bit.
If you were to bet channel points on this match, I mean, you can't, obviously, because you're a streamer, but who would you have bet at the beginning of the series? Would you have put the little edge on Hurricane? How do you think these guys match up?
I think a little edge on Hurricane, yeah. The thing is that a lot of these Korean tosses have insanely good PVT, right? Especially if you can compare it to the European counterparts. Like, I think it's one of the weakest things we have is the PVT in Europe. It's just not very good, and these Korean tosses are absolutely fantastic. So it's not necessarily that I think Hurricane is much better than Kelazur, but I think he's more practiced in the matchup at a higher level.
Yeah, it is kind of fun to see that dynamic, like, throughout a lot of this tournament, where it's like, well, you know, and you think you get that too when you face a top European top Korean Terran. Of course, there are some great European Terrans now as well. But you know, for a long time, it'd be like, okay, I don't know if they can beat a top Korean Terran just because there were so many, and felt like they were so much higher than all the foreigner Terrans. Yeah.
Right now, of course, with Clam, it's a little bit different for the Europeans. Like, he's really at that very top level. But no, I completely agree with you. I also
it is fun dynamic. Now, are you someone? I mean, you have to be. Are you pulling for every foreigner, or is there one Korean out there that you're like, you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing this guy do well. There's every series you're like, I'm going for the foreigner.
No, it depends a bit. Like, in general, I tend to cheer for the tosses, honestly.
Okay, yeah.
I care more about the in-game race than about the nationality in general.
That is fair, actually.
But I mean, Kelazur is like I'm pretty close with him, and so it's nice. It's nice to see them do well. But in general, I'm just a fan after all. MCanning. All I really care about is seeing good games.
Okay, nice plug. I will say, like, I'm someone that like everyone is like, I love TVZ. People are like, what's your favorite matchup? What's the best matchup in StarCraft? TVZ. And I get it. TVZ has its moments, but I'm a guy like. I mean, I feel like you're someone that, you know so much about everything that you probably do love TVZ as well, but it's not like I don't like TVZ, but to me, I will choose every Protoss matchup, including PvP, before I choose TVZ.
PvP is one of my favorites. I find it very fun to watch, high-level PvP.
Yeah, it's fun.
I think it's a really, really good matchup, especially right now. I think in the Charge versus Charge era, it was a little bit worse, the 44 probe shenanigans, but nowadays, man, it's good. Like if you get a good disruptor game, like that can be super entertaining. And I think the early games tend to be pretty volatile as well. Like there's almost always action happening, but that's not what we have here right now, MCanning. Right now, in the bottom left, spawning as the blue Protoss player, it's going to be Hurricane up 1-0 against the man in the top right. In the red trunks, it's going to be Team Liquid's Kelazur.
Yep,
no tricks.
More standard. Yep, we got gas after barracks this time from the man himself. And I am interested to see how how Hurricane opens, because these Koreans, I feel like generally they got more like a Zest. I don't know what you'd really call it, like a Zest trap style. I feel like they're more like gateway guys, where they're like, okay, I'm gonna get my expansions, but I'm gonna go like big pressure with heavy gateway units, Prism stuff. Like when I think about these Koreans, it's more those types of things instead of your big tech. I mean, yes, he had 3 Colossus last game, but guys, he had a lot of gateway units too, okay?
Let's not forget about the gateway units. I mean, if you're playing against someone opening triple CC, the chance that we're going to see a straight transition into Colossi is a lot higher, right?
Yes.
You just get a little bit more time installs. Very often you feel kind of rushed if you're playing against something like 3 Rex. Like you're going to have like half a Colossi out by the time this guy hits with Stim and Combat Shield, and you're gonna have like 4 Stalkers in the main, so you need like almost perfect movement in that case. It's just a little bit easier to open up in that case with a lot of gateway units. I'm really curious to see what Kelazur is going to do. He's still fully mining on gas. I mentioned this because for a while he liked to play these triple CC builds, fast triple CC builds with a fast second Rex, where he then move on the map with a bunch of Marines, a bit like how Beyond played. But in order to do those builds, you need to pull out a gas a bit earlier, and that's not going to be the case here.
I like the small variations as Terran. Like, there's so many different things, and I feel like, when you're, especially as like, let's see, the little Dance Reaper's going to get in and scout. What do we have from Hurricane? He has not made his tech, shield battery in the main. Okay, this is the standard stuff. The depth goes across the map, tries to delay the CC. But while the early game skirmish is going, I feel it's kind of a fine line, not a fine line when you're casting, because you're enjoying it, but it's like you want to learn, but then sometimes it's hard to learn as the adept dance is coming in, the base finishes. All's good for Kelazur here, but it's like when I'm watching some of these games, it's like it's hard to learn and watch at the same time. You really need to go back in and analyze it.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Like you need to pause, you need to write stuff down. It's like because it's too exciting at times, and you're almost always going to be cheering for someone. It can be tricky. I sometimes had it as well when you're like preparing for a match and you just kind of get too caught up in the game to write any of your opponent's timing down. You're like, dang it, I need to watch the series again. It happened a fair amount when I would be preparing for like big games. You're like, oh my god, I'm an idiot. There we go again.
Wasting so much time. You're like, oh no.
It's going to be a triple Rex here, by the way. Look at that. Second barracks going down already. We're going to be seeing a mine drop. Look at the cut on the Marines here to get that second barracks down real nice and fast. Third barracks should start at any point as well. And these are just beautiful timings that we will see Kelazur hit, That's just great. He starts with a Reaper Hellion. It's going to be going into most likely a 2 mine drop. No, only a single mine drop. So 2 factory units before the tech lab. This is going to be very, very fast stim.
Yeah, I like this build a lot, especially against the current meta of Protosses, where it's, pretty much most Protosses will be opening blank, things like that. We have the standard opener from Hurricane, but like these types of timings, like it's so easy for you to just get snowballed on. When the Terran just hits this little window, you take a mini bad trade, and look at this huge army from Kelazur, and I don't think Hurricane's ready for this right now.
Yeah, what does he have? He has so little units. I don't quite understand why. This first Stalker, there's no battery to fall back on, by the way. This mine is going to help out. This Stalker is very low. We could see another pickup, maybe head into the natural, or maybe he's just going to be happy with this for now. It's also possible pick up the mine. Yes, there we go. This is good. This is a good start here for Kelazur, honestly. He's gonna drop the mine behind him, but can be focused down, right? Yeah, that's not gonna be it.
Nice distraction. Nice micro. Picks off one stock before shield battery finishes. And yeah, nice harass. And the thing is, it's all setting up for a little bit of a follow-up attack as well.
Yeah.
Which I do like a lot. Because, you know, it's like... Are you a 2-gate Blink Stalker guy, Harstem?
Oh, I love the 2-gate Blink Stalker. And can I make some quick notes real fast?
Yeah, definitely.
Just to make sure that everyone understands exactly what happened here. So the Blink was delayed because Hurricane went for Adept Stalker and then Twilight. Because he wanted to go across the map, he built a battery in the main base. Usually we see Adept, Twilight, then Stalker. And Kelazur kind of made use of that through doing this little timing attack. That's why he managed to do so much, because usually you'll see this and you'll be like, oh, the Terran just kind of gets pooped on, you know, the blink is done. On top of that, I also think a Hurricane made a small error with his second gate timing, because his warp in was extremely late, and I'm not quite sure why, as we see Kelazur take out an observer. On top of that, the gateways that Hurricane is building now came from a really hard probe cut that he had to do, because he is actually in danger of straight up dying to the 3 Rex after that early game. He needs to be careful right now.
I mean, right now he's double the army supply that is Kelazur. And this was a very strong army that hits. It's not like, it's not a big tank ball, which tank balls can be strong. But when you have Vast Blink Stalker charge lot, these types of bio Widow Mine balls, although there's not really weapons here, are there?
No, not yet.
No. But like these types of pressure builds are so good. And the Prism coming potentially into the main could create a bit of a tricky timing or an anti-timing for him.
No, I don't think he can. I don't think he has the units at home. I think he might just die. I think he might just... +1 is mistimed. This Immortal is also mistimed. Those gonna straight up fall. Oh my god. 3 Zealots for free get taken out. Blink forward. Kelazur just walks through the force fields like they don't exist. And he's absolutely blasting his opponent right now. Still has a couple of Marines in the medevac in the main as well. Oh, slight miss micro here coming out of Kelazur. Now, I'm not sure what this was exactly. Manages to burrows 2 mines, though.
We're going to need to find big damage. Most of the army is actually cleaned up. It's just Widow Mines left at the 3rd base. Prism in the main as well for Kelazur. But these Marines finding nice damage and not much happening across the map. Just 1 Zealot, I see.
Yeah, he's actually redropping in the main base with the 2 extra Marauders, 2 more Marines. He's getting major damage down here. Major damage. 50 workers for Kelazur against the 47. Hurricane actually targeting down the wrong wrong medevac there, as the Prism almost gets taken out. Yeah, I was thinking this Prism isn't the way. If you have such a poor early game, you need every single supply you can get at home. And of course that Immortal getting caught is just a little bit unlucky. I'm not gonna pretend like that's something that Kelazur timed out, right? Oh, at 6:24 the Immortal walks down the ramp. Like that's obviously a little bit unlucky, but you know, you force that luck as well, you know.
For sure. And you're right, where it's the Prism is so risky because he's already up army supply, and that's a lot of army supply. You have the Prism, you have 4 Zealots in the main base, and it is going to go down right here with 2 Zealots only dropping. A nice get for Kelazur, and just everything is going his way. He's up 30 supply already at 8 minutes in.
Yeah, I'm loving this this opener here for Kelazur. He's up in army supply by about 30. I was thinking if he throws down a Ghost Academy here and pulls a bunch of workers, I would have loved to see that personally. It's not going to be the case. Instead, he's getting... I think he already has a 2nd eBay, right? Yeah, he's playing... No, he only has 1. So he's playing single eBay. He's going to be going into 5 gas. Or, sorry, into 5 Rex. Now, this fight looks really bad for Hurricane. What does he have?
There's just nothing on the ground. The super battery is strong, but I don't know if it's that strong. Yes, it is. Protoss wins again. Jesus.
Do you see that mine shot, though? It cleared 3 Zealots at once. That's ridiculous. The other side of the map, yeah, the Zealots are doing damage. They've been doing damage for quite some time now. There's 13 workers that have gone down on the side of Kelazur. Sure, Kelazur also killed a bunch of workers on the other side. But he does need to be careful there, that these Zealot run-bys don't catch him too hard. Mines finally get cleaned up on Hurricane's 3rd base. Well, this has to be an SCV pool almost, no? Like a 1... He got an armory, though, and 2nd eBay, yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what went down, but it felt like it was so good for Kelazur. He was up supply, and then all of a sudden they were even supply after that fight. The fight must have went actually pretty bad for him at the 3rd base. Still no 4th base yet for Hurricane, though, and I still like Kelazur's spot.
Oh, yeah, I love it. Yeah.
But he's got to be careful. More and more Colossus coming out. We do have the Liberators coming out already for Kelazur. I like that actually quite a bit.
I feel like Hurricane he went into observer mode. I feel like he just revealed that there was an observer there. It's like, hey, don't drop in my main body. Like, this is not for you. A couple of zealots get taken out. Now, usually I'd say this isn't too bad because you're forcing army at home, but Hurricane isn't actually that rich. So losing 4 zealots like that is kind of a big deal if you're on 59 workers on 3 bases and you're mining from 6 gases. His mineral income is going to be pathetic. Yeah, he's mining barely 2k a minute. That's actually really, really sad for him.
Yeah. Nice star sense though for Hurricane. He's got a lot of army in the main base for this triple drop actually. And one of the medvacs is super low. Now it does see if it decides not.
You saw the boost. Ready. I was like, ooh, I don't know about that one, buddy.
You see that scan? It's just the call as well. You know, it's like you don't scan the main base for nothing. There's something coming to my main base. Oh, did he see it? I'm not really sure, but you know, it's still no 4th base, and like Kelazur, no gas on his 3rd base or anything. Though I'm not really getting worried, but follow up for Kelazur. I mean, his upgrades are way ahead though. You gotta like that.
Yeah, the thing is, if you're playing a style like this, you need a faster forward as a Terran, right? It felt like he was just kind of hoping to get into this big mid game with 2-2 upgrades, and then the problem is that he kept losing SCVs again and again. 22 SCVs have gone down in total, and now finally he gets the 4th CC, but he hasn't really been able to get the momentum going. You know, he's been building pure medevac with 2 liberators for basically the first 11 minutes of this game, which means if you're only building medevacs, you want to put on pressure, you want to be dropping, you want to be creating chaos, and honestly, after the first 8 minutes, there hasn't really been a lot of chaos. Hurricane kind of stabilized the game. He kind of calmed it down, and I know you're not a fan of that.
We do have a bit of an engagement, but there's 2 more Colossus about to join this army, so I'm not sure it's going to be a tight fight. The Colossus coming in to help there. Force fields here. He needs to force field cut it off. Kelazur just going in. He thinks he might have enough. Colossus, Liberators, and I think the natural and the 3rd base right now from Kelazur. Huge supply lead coming in from Kelagod. And these are Marauders versus Colossus. And yes, he's going to get pushed back, but that was the damage he was looking for.
Oh, that definitely. This was kind of the chaos that he needed earlier. The Liberator in the 3rd base is still alive. We've seen no mining in the natural and the 3rd. 15 workers have gone down, and there's no zealots running by to annoy him either. So I'm kind of digging the position here. +3 attack is already starting here for Kelagod as well, who's scanning forward, who still hasn't seen that one observer has been a true legend, by the way. Once again, moves just out of scan range, dives forward though, manages to get the Disruptor, the Colossus, and this is it, right? This has to be it. GG.
There he goes. They don't call him Game 3 Kelagod for no reason, guys. What do we say about this guy?
What can we say about that?
I will say it's one of those things. It's such a small thing that happens, and like you almost don't even pick up on it when you're a spectator or you're just casting games, and it happens, at the Grandmaster level all the time. But there's always like an organized plan. Where, for example, my point is, he's got the 2 Liberators queued up exactly when he's pressuring the 4th base. It doesn't take a lot. You just need a few things to, harass your opponent, get his attention drawn elsewhere. All it takes is attention elsewhere for a moment, and then you can pounce and take a good fight. And really, the fact that he was able to attack at 3 prongs at the same time, it was just perfect, right? Attacking the new 4th, attacking the 3rd, attacking the natural, even just with libs, just set it up. But I mean, pretty clean game all along. And I think it is scary sometimes when you're doing Kelazur's army there, because there reaches a point where if he gets enough Colossus and enough Disruptor, his army value is just better than your army. His army is better than your army. But he hit a nice timing and he broke him down, and got game 3.
It really got scary there in the end, honestly. Like you're looking at that situation, and if that's a straight up engagement between these 2 armies with like a battery supporting that, I don't know how that goes down, If he hits those force fields like properly, that's also kind of a different situation altogether again. It felt like Kelazur just Hurricane was a little bit flustered by everything happening at once. It was like, well, crap, like can't deal with this.
I actually did think he was gonna not lose that fight at the 4th base. I thought when 2 Colossus joined all the sentries, I thought he was gonna be okay. But that's where like the knowledge and stuff comes into, because Kelazur just stood there and fought, and there was like he took down 1 Colossus, but
he didn't even kite. He was like, no, these zealots, I'm not gonna lose any damage output here. Just stood there like a freaking statue, man. Bang, kept shooting, insane. Yeah, absolutely crazy. It was a beautiful engagement, really good engagement.
It's like, I think this is actually good for me, and I'm like, well, I don't know. Ooh, Oxide coming up. How do you feel about Oxide PVT?
Oh, it's good for Terran. It's good for Terran.
I agree. I feel very uncomfortable on Oxide.
Dude, I feel so uncomfortable. The fourth base, how do you hold that? The third base, well, that you can hold.
And not only that, it's hard to. It's a hard map to get good vision on. Like, yeah, you can see outside your third base, but I feel like it's so easy for you miss something into your main base.
Yeah, because the middle part is so open, right? Yeah. No, I definitely agree there. Yeah, it's such a rough map. I was talking with Special earlier, and he said the same. He said we were watching a Haas game, and he's like, as a Terran, you love this match against the
That was
standard.
a sick Haas build that game,
dude. If he executes that well, like,
I know.
Yeah.
I mean that is the type of innovation I'm looking for. I guess somehow Juanito knows like all these builds. He's like, oh yeah, I've seen this. And I'm like, what? How do I not have this build in my hands yet? Like, come on.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Freaking Haas, man. But that's not what we're paying attention to right now. As in the top right spawning as the blue Protoss player, it is going to be Hurricane. Who's been struggling in that last game a little bit, just from start to finish. A little bit too much aggression coming out of the man in the bottom left. Playing for Team Liquid is, of course, going to be Kelazur, playing in the red trunks.
Yeah, kind of interesting storyline with the two players. I mean, obviously these players, neither of them are expected to win the whole thing. But as players, you always believe in yourself. And you always think like you know that you can beat everyone. Like you don't go, even when you're playing Cyril and some of these good guys. Like, yes, they're gonna win 98% of the games, but you still believe that maybe I can win 2 games. Like you still believe in yourself.
Yeah.
And I think about Hurricane specifically story, and it's like, he had that one really good run. Was it a GSL or something? He got semifinals, or I think
semifinals. And don't forget, last 2 IEM Katowice, he got, I think, top 8 and top 12. So 2019, I think, was top 8, and 2020 was top 12. Like,
yeah. So he's someone that's he's a cusp guy where it's people still don't really know Hurricane, but he's still really strong. But he just can't consistently place high enough for you to be like, yes, this guy is someone that I think is really good.
Yeah, he'll get like semifinals in GSL and then lose in the next Oli Molly in the second round against like a 5.9k. It's like it's very, very odd to watch his results sometimes, and it must be very frustrating for him as well, right? But to come back to your point, it's always funny when people ask like, what are you expecting from the tournament? Like, I know I'm not the favorite, but if I don't think I'm gonna win, I'm not playing. I always believe that I'm going to win, which makes the defeats even more sour when they inevitably happen. Like,
and the thing is, we're not like Cyril or Clem, or the Rainer guys. We like 98% of the time it's pain for us. Like, playing StarCraft is pain because you go into a tournament, it's just heartbreak. It's literally heartbreak after heartbreak.
Yeah,
where you're just so disappointed in yourself. Like almost always, unless you're like the best player, you pretty much are always just so disappointed in how you played. And it's not a good feeling, but it's like that's like the reality for like pretty much every pro except the top pros. They just they don't feel the pain we feel.
Yeah, they don't feel the pain. People always had pity with Sue. I'm like, but he got so many second place. I only get top 16s. Like, where's my pity?
It's kind of like when you're even in like the challenger brackets and stuff, and it's like you have like a close series, but you lose like 0-2, and they're like, man, MCanning, like, great games. I'm like, well, I lost 0-2. I mean, I don't even care if I'm playing Neeb or Astray or something. It's like, when you lose, even if you play someone great and you lose, it's like, I lost, man.
Because you always feel like you make dumb errors.
Yes, you do. Yes. Because it's very rare in a game of StarCraft where you're like, man, that guy played so well. You're like, man, I could have handled all those things. Like, well, he's not even that strong. Like, Cyril, he's not even that good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's frustrating. All right, let's have a look what's happening here. So we see Twilight into Robo. This got spotted, by the way. Now, if you're a Terran player and you're watching this and you're wondering, well, Twilight into Robo, who's just going to be Blink? That could be correct, but very often this leads into a 4-gate Blink or a 3-gate Blink with a Prism, because there's no reason to delay your Blink for something fast out of a Robo unless it's either DT drop or if it's 4-gate Blink, where you need that Observer and that Prism. There's one more scenario, actually, which I didn't mention now, and that is going to be in case it's Robo Colossus, or it's Blink Colossus, because then you want the fast Robo as well. You want vision on the map, And then you go into Colossi from this. I actually think that's what's going to happen, because we see 4 gas going down. What do you think of the blink into Colossus? This is a style that we hardly see.
Yeah, it's actually it's got a special place in my heart, because for a long time I used to just only do this build because it's not a great build, but it's like a safe build.
So safe.
And it's one of those things where when you're playing someone, it can be good and safe, but then it also can put you behind quite a bit. And we see fast 3cc. It's gonna be very hard for Hurricane to punish 3cc with Blink Colossus. I mean, I just favor the opener here for Kelazur.
No, I agree. There is, of course, there's some things. Okay, Kelazur was slightly too late on spawning that observer. I was looking at that. Kelazur usually is quite good at that, but this time in see, if he could have denied the spot on the 3rd CC, Hurricane is in so much trouble here, because then he isn't producing probes right now. He's like wondering, hey, when's the next mines? When are the mines coming? You know, like, can I even get some? Now he's getting a prism. He's going to be going into charge. There is one timing when you're playing this opener, and that's with 2 or 3 Colossi. You can move on the map, and you can have such a powerful timing, but you need to be able to get map control with that. That is usually the main timing that people play around with when they play Blink into Colossi. Now, we see, because he spotted the triple CC, he's going into double forge here off of 3 gateways. We see a lot of probes being produced, no extra gateway units being warped in. I like all of these decisions, MCanning. I like all of these decisions.
Yeah, I think, you know, you said it so well. Like, he sees the 3rd CC, and you see the double forge instantly coming down. He sees the 3rd CC. Just all the right steps, playing safe, playing smart. And Kelazur should have at least somewhat of an idea that he's not in a ton of trouble right now, but it's hard for him to truly push out right now.
I mean, he's just gonna win. The nice thing for him is that he completely skipped tanks, right? He just played, so he's gonna have a crap ton of units. He wasn't very safe necessarily in the early game against some of the Blink all-ins, but that wasn't the case. So now he's in a fine spot. He has a lot of units to get a Marauder count here, you know? He's going to be able to get this Medevacs out. Sure, his factory units are delayed, but Barracks 4 and 5 are fast. There's only 3 Stalkers on his side of the map. Worker count-wise, I'm pretty happy if I'm Kelazur in this case. Whenever you're not down 6-7 workers as Terran, you're just going to be ahead in eco. Look at this flank. Look at the flank. There's no way.
He actually hit it. I mean,
he gets it. He gets it. Oh, he's not paying attention to it. That could have been 3 Stalkers. If he micros that, that's 3 Stalkers.
Prism goes down, I believe, but the 3 depths get into the main. This is fine for Kelazur here. You think he would have got 3 Stalkers there? I don't know.
Yeah. No, definitely. If he micros that, yeah, that's 3 Stalkers right there. Of course.
It was a nice maneuver, though. He stimmed it instantly.
Yeah. He knew. This is pure experience, you know? There was no thinking there, just instinct. Bam. Gut feeling.
And okay. Will Kelazur, I mean, there's 2 Colossus out. There's nothing to find here for Kelazur, and he needs to be careful not to lose everything to, you know, a big Blink dive on 2 Colossus in. This is a very tender spot, and this observer just following him right now. I'm getting a little bit concerned. Here we go.
Whoa, there goes 1 Medevac at least. No, I don't think you can engage into this Kelazur. I think this might be a mistake. No, says Kelazur. Snipes 1 Colossi. Takes out a bunch of the Stalkers. Well, actually gets a decent trade out of this. Sometimes I'm not even sure why I speak, MCanning.
Sometimes you realize why you're sticking to that YouTube game. But, you know, the Marauders come out.
Ouch.
He got a lot of Marauders there, so it was not terrible.
It wasn't terrible, but I thought that was an awful engagement, and that went a lot better than it would have gone in my head, alright? Maybe I'm just more used to my own high-level micro, you know? I would have cleared all of that, no problem. My Colossi would have been fighting those Marines like no tomorrow, man. Some individual target fire there. No, but this was a very good trade for how bad it started coming out of Kelazur. Once again gonna get 3 Zealots. These Zealot run-bys are fun, but once again, I have the same criticism as last game. This is a lot more fun if you're on 4 bases and 75 workers.
I feel like Hurricane's 4th have been so late. Especially knowing it was 3cc here. I wouldn't have mind seeing like quite a fast 4th to match.
Like off of like 4 gates, you know? Like while building Colossi, you're skipping gateway units anyway. You can't really die when you have Colossi against this type of opener. You can take a poor trade, but dying is difficult. And now Kelazur he's in a lead. It's not a small lead either.
Coming to the north, not finding it. He was trying to set up kind of what he did last time with the Liberator on the 3rd base type stuff while he pushes the 4th. I'm still surprised this 4th base has not come down. It's like, to me, it almost is like Hurricane is like, I just don't want to die. It almost feels like how he's playing. Because like sometimes, we do have the Doom Drop, but wasn't this spotted by this Observer? I mean, it had to have been spotted. There's a lot in the main base. He needs to be very careful. Stalker's here. Link forward gets one medvac. And nice trade for Hurricane, but he didn't lose everything.
This is the first move that I actually didn't like by Kelazur at all. He sees the lack of a fort base. Why are you dropping into the main base? His freaking barracks 6, 7, and 8 started before his opponent's fort base started. Like, he is in such a good spot right now that he doesn't need to be taking these risks. He needs to be pouncing once this fort base is taken. And that's exactly what he's doing. Half of the army of Hurricane isn't here. This could be a potentially very good trade. But these force fields were basically what Hurricane needed in that last game. I think this left side fort base could fall though.
Yeah,
Should
you
fall.
need to be careful though. DTs also are coming all across the map right now at the same time. There is turrets and stuff ready. 2 Colossus here. A nice little spread from Kelazur at this fight. And Hurricane's trying to engage into him right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he can. Mines are doing some damage. One more big mine shot onto that sentry. Takes out a couple of extra stalkers as well. 68 workers against 67. Will be in favor of the Terran, who can of course throw down mules. 2-2 about to finish up for Kelazur, ahead of the 2-2 of Hurricane. And he deals with the DTs, which are now spotted. He can get a turret per base. Fort base has landed. I'm a little bit sad that that fort base didn't die. I think he could have had it. He might have been too focused on trying to get a good fight near the third base of Hurricane, and I think he lost a little bit of momentum in these last 45 seconds.
Yeah, you got to give some good props to Hurricane. Amazing map vision. Something you don't really notice, especially when you're just watching. The right-hand side, he's got 2 observers and a probe. Just seeing that whole area, I love that from him. I am a little bit scared of Kelazur's situation we had last game. We have 3 ghosts coming out. There is a big Colossus number out. We have disruptors on the field. I'm getting scared Hurricane's army will just be better eventually when they get to max. I mean, how many Vikings do we have? Only 4 Vikings for these 4 Colossus, double disruptor. I don't know.
I think your fears are
a little overstated.
Yeah, a little overstated. Okay, if this was an army consisting of 45 Marines and 10 Marauders, I'd agree. But this is 20 Marauders. It's a different type of army, you know? This is not an army that will just roll over once the Colossi hit. Look at this flank. Oh my god, this was beautiful by Kelazur. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, though. No, it definitely isn't going to be enough, and perhaps your fears weren't overstated.
So it's coming in. And the thing is, he even sniped that one disruptor, didn't get a big shot off on the south side, but those 4 Colossus. And I agree, it looked like he was actually going to be able to get a nice pounce in. Now Hurricane sitting up 30 supply, a much stronger army. I mean, now it looks very, very scary for Kelazur. I don't know if he can ever get enough to handle this army. This is a very strong army.
Yeah, and he is on 8 racks, so he's producing like a madman. His +3 is relatively close. He has the EMP the size of an entire screen. So he's going to hit everything with an EMP and a half. So I think Hurricane is going to maybe take a little bit of extra time. There's no Prism here either. No, Hurricane doesn't give a crap. He says, you just took an awful fight. I'm going to go in. Big disruptor shot hits. Ay. This is not looking good for Kelazur.
Disruptor coming in, missing actually quite a bit, but the Marines going right into the Zealots. Zealots, Colossus finding huge damage. And, oh, God. Hurricane. Jesus. I mean, congrats to Hurricane. Game ends. I'm like, no. But it was I just was more feeling Kelazur's pain. The 2 games he lost to me, just painful losses. I mean, the first game, the medvacs, 2 medvacs go out across the map, they die. He just instantly loses after that. And then this game, kind of similar story. He felt like he was in a fine spot. I mean, they're both getting to max. Then he overcommitted when there wasn't even a Nexus over there in that 4th, 5th area location, right?
Do you still have the replay open?
Oh, no, I closed it.
1109. Okay, I missed this shot. He lost like 7-8 units to a single disruptor shot at the start of the fight. I actually think that's kind of a game changer.
Yeah,
I think his position was really nice before that. Don't forget his ghosts also weren't there yet. And 2-2 literally finished like half a second before. So in my mind, what happened here is that Kelazur clicks the units, sees, hey, it's 1-1 or like 1-2, and it's like, okay, I'm going to go in. Then he goes in, and right at that moment, 2-2 finishes, which is the most frustrating timing for, to finish if you're just about to enter a fight. And then a big disruptor shot, I think it killed like legit 20 to 23 supply, so...
To say the game was basically exactly even going into that fight. I think
so I'm actually gonna stand by with what I said. I think that army isn't just gonna roll over. If
it
doesn't get
so
hit
heavy
by
Marauders. You're not wrong. And it was like Stalker Colossus mostly, so like the Marauders can easily just chew through that.
Yeah, it was no Archons, no Zealots. So
and I think, even to more your point, it's so on knife's edge where it could have been, if that disruptor shot doesn't hit, It's possible Kelazur just straight cleans up all this Colossus, and I end up.
Yeah, you end up looking like the clown. And now I still kind of salvage it by making up some excuses. But your call was correct here, MCanning.
Keep justifying.
Yeah, keep justifying. All right. I'm actually gonna check to make sure, but I believe we're moving towards the end of day number 1. If I check my schedule real fast, I think